Hey y'all, welcome to the inaugural mini episode of the Perinatal Podcast. I am so excited to be here. I'm so excited. I'm so grateful. So many of you have sent me in your stories already. We're gonna kind of see how this goes. I've got three today. I've got plenty in the hopper. So, yeah, if you all could let me know, like, how you enjoy the format of this. If you want them to be longer, if you want them to be shorter, if you want just one story per, I don't know. Um, yeah, what's beautiful about everything about doing the show is that it can always evolve and change in this medium. So, also, while I have you, if you wouldn't mind going and giving us a 5-star review in your app, whatever, if you're seeing us on Spotify or Apple, maybe leaving a review, also a couple of sentences. It does not have to be the Great American Novel. It can just be like, I like this show, but just something really quick. It really does help us to get seen more and get pushed in the algorithms. And as much as I do enjoy doing this for my own benefit, because I do benefit so much, you all don't even know. I have the best time getting to talk to all my guests. It is also nice when more and more people can get to hear it and we get to a little more get it spread. So yeah, and also if you get a chance to share it with a friend or a loved one in your text group. So all right, let's get going. This was my very first one. I put out the call a while ago for these, and a person got back to me after seeing my request on TikTok. So here we go. I figured why not share my little bit of experience with my kids. My son has undiagnosed ADHD. My daughter was born with cytomegalovirus that caused her cerebral palsy, half deafness, nonverbal autism, and global delays. It has not been easy whatsoever, especially being a single parent. I can say that being a mother has been the most difficult yet most rewarding gift so far. Despite still not getting a full night of sleep every night, feel that. Not knowing what the future holds for my daughter or the effect of being raised by a single mom is going to do to my son. Those are the things that keep me up at night and make me wonder, am I doing the right thing? With every single thing I do, I constantly struggle with ongoing battle in my head if I'm doing what I should be doing or what could I be doing more of? How can I make sure I meet their emotional, physical, spiritual, social, etc. needs? All I can say is I have learned that the best thing I can do is show up every single day. Show up and be present. Don't miss the little things because the kids are always watching and absorbing it. I can confidently say both of my kids are thriving despite the odds being stacked against them in every way. My son at the top of his class in middle school math levels and only going into the fifth grade, and my daughter is beyond measure of what the NICU doctor said or any of the tests that classified her as extremely delayed. She's one of the most progressive kids her teachers and therapists have ever seen. You teach her something once and she learns quick. She's super attentive and thrives on a routine. I have had every reason and every single roadblock deterring my motherhood for almost 10 years, yet somehow I am standing tall and walking even taller now. God never said it would be easy, but He always let it be known it would be rewarding and strengthening in the process. My entire life has felt like it's been leading up to this. Being independent, a single mom, caregiver to my daughter full time, and beating cancer last year, all while managing to fit in therapy and take care of my diabetes and mental health. When I sit and think about it, I don't know how I've managed to stand firm in my shoes without getting the wind knocked out of me. I'm just grateful, thankful, and feel very blessed to have my kids and to be alive. As well as all of the bad I've had to deal with, it's made me a strong person. And that is why my kids are who they are. They refuse to let life take them down or let others give them their standards to live by. They have their own bar they set and pass it each and every day. They have taught me so much more than I think I'll ever be able to teach them. That's from Amber. And I just, first of all, I appreciate you taking the time to write all that out. So many amazing nuggets in there. And I'm so grateful to hear all of that. And I appreciate you sharing your stories, the struggles, the ways that you conceptualize just doing the next right thing, just putting the next foot forward. And sometimes as parents, especially as solo parents, that can be a lot. So kudos to you. I'm so grateful. I'm so delighted that this is my first story that I am using on the mini episodes. And hopefully to get to have more heard back from you later, Amber. All right, here's the next one. Mornings in my house used to feel like a chaotic race against the clock. Between packing lunches, finding shoes, and making sure everyone was out the door on time, I often found myself feeling stressed before the day even started. One day, I decided to try something different. Instead of shouting out reminders and watching the clock like a hawk, I turned our morning routine into a game. Oh, I love that. All right, everyone, I called out the breakfast table. Today, we're going to have a morning race. The goal is to see who can get ready for school first, but there's a twist. You have to be kind and help someone else along the way. Dude, gosh, I love this. Oh my gosh. At first, my kids, I'm going to redact those. I'm not going to say people's kids' names. So if you're sending in a story in the future, feel free to just say, I don't know, make up names or not to share names at all. So at first, my kids looked at me like I was wild, but the idea of a race intrigued them. Soon enough, they were racing to get dressed, brushing their teeth, and helping each other with little tasks like tying shoelaces and finding backpacks. The morning was filled with laughter instead of stress, and surprisingly, we made it out of the door with time to spare. That's when I realized that by shifting the focus from frantic pace of the morning to something more playful and cooperative, I was teaching my kids valuable lessons about teamwork, kindness, and time management. It was a small change, but it made a huge difference in how our day started. From that day forward, the morning race became a beloved tradition in our home. What used to be a stressful part of our day was now one of the most enjoyable moments we shared together. Shout out to Beth for introducing me to your podcast. Thanks for all you do to normalize mental wellness, getting therapy, taking meds, and that parenting can be beautiful and hard all at once. And that doesn't mean we're doing it wrong. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you that. And thank you to Beth for sharing my show with our author. That's amazing. I love this idea. My kids right now are 3 and 5, and I think I'm gonna have to try to implement this because I really love what you were saying too. Like, I know we talk about like a stressed, a rushed child is an anxious child. I think that's the expression. And so anytime I do have to rush the kids, I love to say like, I don't want you to feel stressed. I'm sorry to have to rush you. I want to be intentional about it, but it does happen. Okay. Yeah, like sometimes we just have to rush. We have to get to school at a certain time. We have to be at the door at a certain time to miss traffic or get to this event or whatever it is. And so being intentional in that way is great. And I like this making it a game and very cool that you have to be kind and help someone else along the way. So they're not like shoving each other out of the way to get to the backpack or the mudroom to like get off their backpacks off the hook or whatever. They're helping each other tie shoelaces or whatever that is. That's a really cool one. So thank you so much for that one. All right, and the last one for today, we're gonna, like I said, we're starting out. We're gonna do 3 and we're gonna see how it goes. And maybe we'll do 3 every time, or I don't know, y'all let me know what you think. So I've always struggled with staying focused, whether it was at work, at home, or even during conversations. My mind would often wander to a dozen different places. Oh, excuse me, I want to say that clearly. My mind would often wander off to a dozen different places. Like, yes, that is, it would have, either way would have been appropriate, but wandering off is such a visual. Yes, absolutely. I knew I needed to make a change, but the idea of staying focused for long periods felt overwhelming. Then one day, after listening to a podcast about mindfulness, I decided to try something simple, the focus jar. I took an empty mason jar and filled it with small, colorful stones. Each one represented a task or moment where I stayed focused without getting distracted. It could be anything, completing a work project, reading a chapter of a book, or even just listening fully to a friend without checking my phone. That's a hard one. At first, the jar filled slowly. I'd place a stone in it after completing a task, and some days I wouldn't have anything to add. But over time, I noticed something shifting. The more I acknowledged my focused moments, the more aware of them I became. Yes, my jar started to fill up more quickly, and I began to see the progress I was making. The focus jar wasn't just a tool to track my progress, it became a symbol of my journey toward better focus and mindfulness. Whenever I felt discouraged, I'd look at the jar, reminding myself that focus was something I could build one step at a time. Eventually, the jar was filled to the brim, and I decided to start a new one. This time, I didn't just focus on work or chores. I added stones for moments of self-care, yes, for time spent with loved ones, and for simply being present in the moment. The focus jar has become more than a tool. It was a reflection of my growing ability to live with intention and awareness. Again, amazing. You all, I'm so glad that we decided to start doing this. It's such a pleasure for me again to get to talk to my guests and get to share that information with you, but to get to hear from you all out there and sharing some of these brilliant ideas or just updates or here's what I'm struggling with or whatever. Thank you all so much for this. So I'm excited for this to be our first one. I can't wait to hear what you all think about it. Keep those stories coming and we'll keep making these for you. All right. As always, be curious, not judgmental, and we will see you next time on the Perinatal Podcast.